Hello guys, and welcome once again to the KNUST Agric Biotech Hub. Um, we will be having our next lesson in R, and what we're going to focus on is going to be reading and writing Excel sheets in R. And we're going to do this with the help of two packages, that is Read Excel and Write Excel. Okay, two packages, Read Excel, Write Excel, but we'll also need some few packages to complement this in order for us to carry out some few activities whilst we go ahead in this lesson. Okay, so the Read Excel, just as the name suggests, helps you read Excel files into R's environment, whereas the Write Excel helps you write data structures, okay, from R's environment into Excel sheets, okay, which can be viewed probably using any spreadsheet application. Okay, so yes, so the main focus or the main packages we're going to be using here are Read Excel and Write Excel. Okay, Read Excel and Write Excel. And one last package I would want us to install, because of a functionality we'll be using, is table. Okay, the table package. Okay, so now let's head to installing these packages. So installing necessary packages. So to install the necessary packages, we're going to use the install dot packages function, and we have about 3 packages we want to install. So you're going to wrap it all in quotes. Okay, so we have Read Excel, followed by the next, which is Write Excel, and followed by the next, which is table. Okay, so once you have done this, okay, you should understand how things are now. You could see I've used the concatenate function to merge all these together. Okay, so install the packages, and all you need to do is to just run. So yes, so the reason why you're seeing this is because I have already installed these packages. Okay, but for you guys who haven't installed it, you should be fine when you go this way. So I would have to probably update, and you would see that the process starts where the necessary installations and updates will be done for me. Okay, all right. So it says, you can see here, it says package Read Excel is successfully unpacked, Write Excel successfully unpacked. Okay, now after doing this, we'll need to load the packages. So we're going to load the packages. Okay, we could write a simple for loop to load everything, but yeah, but you get there. So let's just go one after the other. Okay, so we're going to code library Read Excel. That's what we're going to load. So we'll load this, and library Write Excel, and finally library table. Okay, good. So we're going to run this and that. Good. So now that we have done this, let's move on to next steps. We're going to now see how to write Excel. Okay, write Excel sheets in R. Okay, basically we're going to see how we can convert or get a data structure that we have created in R, basically for this lesson a data frame, and then write it as an Excel sheet and then view it in Microsoft Excel. Okay, good. So yeah, so we're going to write Excel. Okay, so writing data frames or data structure, say data structure or data structures, sorry, data structures um, into Excel sheets in R. And like I said, we're going to basically focus on data frames. Okay, all right, so we can go ahead and create a table or a data frame. Okay, we could go ahead and create a data frame and then write it as an Excel sheet. But what I want us to do is to access some data sets in R and go by that. Okay, we're going to access some data sets in R and go by that. So there is a package called mass. Okay, you're going to load that package. Okay, and after you load that package, it has varying data sets, so we can get some of the data sets from it. We have Abbey, Agdeth, and the rest, but we're going to take that of anorexia. Okay, just for you to see what is in anorexia, this is what you have. Okay, this is basically what you have in anorexia. Okay, yeah, so you see I called the package name and then had 2 colons and selected from the options that was given, I selected what I needed. Okay, and this helps as well, okay, for anyone using your code to understand what exactly or where exactly this was attained from. Okay, so this was attained from what? The mass package. Good. So now let's create a data an object to hold the anorexia data set. So I'm going to say anorexia, the data the object I'm going to use is anorexia data set, and I'm going to store the anorexia data in it. So now when I print or when I head anorexia data set, you would see that I would have the first 6 rows. Okay, so that is what the head does. It gives you a preview of the first 6 rows. You could increase the number of rows you want. There is an argument for that. Okay, so n could be any number if you want 20, 40, 50, but it has to be within the range of the number of rows in your data. Okay, good. So here, like I said, head previews the data. Okay, and by default it is 6 rows. Okay, 6 rows. All right, so now that we've seen what is in anorexia, I want us to get the number of rows. Okay, I want us to get the number of rows and then create or assign row names to the data set. Okay, I would want us to assign row names to the data set, and the row names are going to be record 1 through to the number of rows in the anorexia data set. The reason I'm doing this is to kind of, how do I put this, kind of let you guys understand some few things in R as well. Okay, probably if you have a data set and you have a portion row names to read, I want you guys to know how to go about it so that those row names would appear in the Excel sheet, because there are times where when you just have this normal data sheet in your terminal, or in your console, you would see the row names, but if you write it in into an Excel sheet, you won't see the row names. Okay, you would understand what I'm trying to say. Good. So yeah, so let's add row names to it, but before we do that, let's find the number of rows in the anorexia data set. Okay, so we have 72 rows. So 72 rows, and like I said, we want the row names to be record 1 through to the number of rows. So to do that, let me just add a comment here, get number of rows. Okay, now that we know the number of rows we are dealing with, okay, let's just set the row name. So we're going to use the function called row names. And what objects row names are we going to update or change is the anorexia data set, and what new names do we want to give to it. So it's going to be record 1 through to, okay, the number of rows. So to do this, we're going to use the paste function, okay, and like I said, it's going to be record, okay, record, and then the length is going to be from 1 to what? From 1 to the number of rows, okay, from 1 to the number of rows of the anorexia data set. So this way, okay, and if we need to add a separator, we can also do that. So what should record and the number be separated by? So it should be separated by, let's say, it should be separated by, let's say, an underscore, okay, and we have that here. So the moment I run, you would see that we now have new row names for the anorexia data set. It's no longer going to be 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 blah blah blah. It's now going to be record 1, record 2 in that order. So let's print the anorexia data set. So what do you see? We now have our row names to be what? Record 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 in that order. Is that okay? Good. Now that we have done this, let's go to the main thing. Okay, writing it. We want to write, so writing it to an Excel sheet. Okay, good. So to write this as an Excel sheet, what do we want to write? We want to write the anorexia data set as an Excel sheet. Okay, now pay close attention. You would see that these are our column names and these are our row names, but in actual sense, if we should just write this way, okay, you would notice that your row names will not be written, or you wouldn't find your row names in the Excel sheet. Let me demonstrate this to you. So let's write the anorexia data set to an Excel sheet. To do that, since we have loaded the write Excel package, we're going to use the function write XLS, okay, and when you quote write XLS, your X is going to be the data frame, okay, or the data structure you wish to write as an Excel sheet. Okay, so my X is going to be what? Anorexia data set, and my path is going to be what? So how do you want the anorexia data set to be how do you want the anorexia data set to be saved? Okay, what file name, how do you want the file name to be? Okay, so I'm going to say it should be anorexia final, then I append the structure, so it's going to be .xlsx. okay, this is enough to give you a clue of how the end should be. Okay, and this is very important because once the file type is not here, you get an error. Okay, the file type has to be appended to it, so it's .xls. If it was CSV, it's going to be .csv. If it is text, it's going to be .txt. If it's doc, it's going to be .doc. Is that all right? Good. And there are other arguments as well, but we'll just limit ourselves to this for now. Now I want to set my working directory to my desktop so that the moment I write this, it will be on my desktop. Because if you check, if I get my working directory right now, it's a particular folder I'm working on. So it's Chakuran 3R, and that is not where I want to store it. I want to store it, I want to keep it in my environment. Okay, so to do that, let's go to the terminal, and because I have opened because I have opened a folder at the moment, I could just go back, okay, and then I can make or create a folder on my desktop. Okay, I'm going to create a folder on my desktop, so I'm going to use the command make directory, and then I would say YouTube. The folder name is going to be YouTube tutorial. Okay, and I just run. So if I should go to my desktop, I will now see a folder created called YouTube tutorials. For those of you who do not understand how the terminal works, you could just go to your desktop and create your folder as well. Okay, so now when I go to my desktop, you will see I have YouTube tutorials, okay, here. Okay, so I can copy the file path. I can copy the file path, or sorry, the folder path, come to R, okay, and then now set a working directory. So now let me set a working directory. So I'm setting the working directory to this, but this would yield an error because R accepts if you are pasting or going to use the path directly in R, okay, the backward slash is not accepted. You have to go with the the backward slash is not accepted. You have to go with a forward slash, or you can double the backward slash. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to double this. Okay, that is far easier than deleting and setting things up again. Okay, so now I can run it, and now if I should get my working directory again, you will see that my working directory has been set to this. Okay, so now that my working directory has been set to this, remember we haven't run this yet. So here we set we got working directory, so getting the directory, and here setting the directory. Okay, setting the directory. Good. So now, like I said, we haven't run this yet. So what is going to happen now is the moment I run this, it's going to be the Excel sheet is going to be stored in the working directory, the folder called YouTube tutorials that I created in the terminal. Okay, so let's run this, and it's done. So if I should list the files in the YouTube tutorials folder using the list.files function, okay, here we're listing the files. So listing files in directory. Okay, so now if I should list the files in directory, you see anorexia final in there. Okay, it says that here you have anorexia final. Now proof of everything will be for me to open the YouTube tutorial folder, and you can see that we now have anorexia final in the working directory. Isn't that awesome? Good. So now let's open it up and observe what we have. Okay, so once we open, take note, the column names we have for the anorexia dataset appears the same way. Nothing has changed. It's correct. But the only thing that has changed is our row names. Okay, like I was saying. Okay, though the row names appeared in R, the console, the row names appeared, but in the Excel sheet, it's not. So what if you are dealing with a data set and you are very concerned about the row names? Okay, so to do that, let's go back and let me just demonstrate how that is done. Okay, good. So yeah, so we have this anorexia data set. I'm just going to print it again so that you see. you see that we have our row names to be record 1 through to record 72. So now here we're going to add, so let's add the row names to the final data, let's say data sheet. Okay, keep it that way. Good. So yeah, so how do we do this? That is why I asked us to load the table, okay, package. Now the table package contains a function that converts row names to columns. Okay, so I'm going to use, since we have loaded the table package, we can just go ahead and call row names to column. So it's basically going to fetch the row names and set them into a column. Okay, good. Now how this is going to be done is that it takes two arguments. If you check, it first takes the data, and secondly it takes the column name, okay, that will host the row names. Okay, so the data we're going to use is anorexia, okay, the anorexia data set, and the row names, which is var, is going to be we're going to the column name for the column that will store the row names is going to be, let's say, I'll say row names, okay, or records. So I'll call that records. Okay, good. So this is basically how to do it. If I should run this, you will see for yourself. You will see that now we have our row names, which was record 1, 2, 3, forming a column now. Okay, it has now formed a column. Okay, and it bears the respective row names. Okay, good. But we can't run this, or we can't write this into an Excel sheet. Why? Because you haven't created an object to store it. Okay, you haven't created an object to store it. So to create an object to store it, we're going to give it a name, assign it to a name. So we're going to say anorexia with row names. Okay, that's how I'm keeping it, anorexia with row names. Good. So now let's write it as an Excel sheet now again. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. I don't want to write everything again, so I'll paste this, and I'm going to change this to anorexia with row names. Okay, so anorexia with row names, and the path is going to be anorexia updated. I'm going to change it to anorexia updated. Okay, so this way, is that okay? So we have, this is the updated script, and this was the initial one. Okay, so now let's run it, and once we run, we can now list the files again, and you'll see that we now have anorexia final and anorexia updated. You're seeing this because the anorexia final is open in Excel sheet. So if I should go to my Excel sheet now and close it, that will be it. Okay, good. So now let's go to the folder, the YouTube tutorial folder, and we'll now see anorexia updated. Now let's click on it and see what it would be shown here. Good. So after clicking, you will see that we have our column, our row names, okay, being converted to columns as well. Okay, so this way I would be able to know that, okay, this row, this is record 1, this is record 2. Assuming you are dealing with a data set like that contains, let's say, names of students used as row names, okay, this will come in handy. Or let's say some genotypes you are analyzing data on, or anything, this will come in handy. Okay, so you would see that the right thing has been done here, and I could know, okay, this is record 12. Okay, based on Excel's row numbering, this is 13, but then I know that this is record what, 12. Is that okay? So yeah, so this is how to basically, this is how to write data structures in R onto an Excel sheet. Now to end, let us see how to read, okay, data sheets. Sorry, let's see how to read Excel sheets in R. Okay, so to read Excel sheet, I have an Excel sheet here on my desktop, and we're going to use that Excel sheet instead. Okay, so I'm going to copy as path. You copy it as path. Okay, once you copy it as path, you need to create an object that will hold the red, okay, data sheet from Excel. Sorry, okay, talking is not easy. Yeah, so yes, so this is going to be read data. I'm going to the object I'm given, the object name is read data 1. That's how I'm going to call it, and I'm going to use the read Excel. Okay, I'm going to use the read Excel function, and this read Excel function is coming from the read Excel package we installed and loaded. Okay, so the same thing, we input the path, or we enter the path here, and we increase the backslash. Okay, we're just going to make it 2, and that is it. Now supposing the Excel sheet, okay, there's an argument that says sheet name or sheet number, okay, but then supposing this Excel sheet has sheet names, okay, supposing the Excel sheet has sheet names, how do we get the sheet names? Okay, so to get the sheet names, you use a function called Excel sheets, and in the Excel sheets function, you're going to copy the path and put it in there, and it would, once you run, it will automatically give you the tabs, the names of the tabs in the Excel sheet. Okay, so I have a tab called Geno response to SE, I have duration, I have blah blah blah, I have a whole lot. Okay, so now that I have known the various tabs in this particular Excel sheet, I can copy, okay, the tab name, and then this is going to now help me read the correct tab. Okay, the right tab I want to deal with, I can now read it. Okay, so we have Excel sheet, and then what is the sheet name, the tab name? It is cluster of embryos, so I paste. Okay, so let me just, for you guys to see, well, let me just bring this down here and take this and paste it here and give a comment, says get tab names from Excel sheet. Okay, get tab names from Excel sheet. So yes, so now I have the Excel sheet I want to read into R, and I also have the exact tab. Okay, there are about 7 tabs, and I want to read just this. Okay, so I just want to read this. There's another argument where you can skip. Okay, let's say your actual data starts from row 5 or row 6. You can use the skip function to do that. There are a lot of things here. When you read, you will know, and then based on what you want to do, you can go ahead. Okay, but for this tutorial, I'm just going to limit myself to this. So now let me just read the Excel sheet. It has been read. Okay, forget this, it is because of how the Excel sheet has been created over there. So now let's view the read data. Okay, so read data 1, let's view it, and this is how it appears. Okay, this is how the data appears in that particular data sheet. Okay, don't mind how this the column names has been given. Like I said, it's because of how the Excel sheet I was using to demonstrate to you guys has been created. Okay, yeah, But if you should have any Excel sheet and you follow this principle or these steps, you should be able to correctly read your Excel sheet. And if your Excel sheet has tabs, you should be able to also choose the right tab you want to deal with. Okay, so thank you guys so much for joining. This is basically how to read and write Excel sheets in R. And after reading the Excel sheet, you can decide to play with it a bit. You can decide to change column names, manipulate data, sum some few things up, play with it. Okay, so yeah, to keep things short, thank you guys once again for joining. Please like, subscribe, share, and comment. And if you feel there are things we can do to improve this lesson, you can go ahead and give us a comment, and we'll see next steps. Okay, thank you very much, and I'll see you guys in the next tutorial, and a happy new year as well. Bye.